Meanwhile, the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, with other partners, including Epic Afrique, Nigeria Health Watch, Reboot, are working on developing solutions that will combat the issue of poor management and disposal of COVID-19 waste. Health facilities and COVID-19 centres in Nigeria often have protocols for the safe disposal of biomedical waste. However, the poor handling of this waste poses as a hazard for health workers, patients, visitors and communities around health facilities. Well, joining us for more on this is William Suma, Crisis Prevention and Recovery Advisor with the UNDP, and he joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for having me, Millicent. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. What is the current condition of COVID-19 waste management in developing countries, and how would you rate Nigeria's management and disposal of COVID-19 waste?
So, Millicent, even before we look at the COVID-19 and its implications to the waste that is generated, I think waste management continues and has always been a major challenge, not just in Nigeria, but globally. If you look at the amount of waste that is deposited in our seas, the littering that happens across board, the use of single-use plastic, that continues to affect not just the well-being of citizens, but also the environment at large, continues to be a huge challenge, and especially so in developing countries, whether it's from a perspective of policy or institutional enforcement, and also just behavior in terms of how we handle and manage waste. Now, of course, with COVID, that has been even further compounded, that even as we protect and prevent the spread of the disease, there is also the realization that that effort to prevent and manage the spread of the disease has come with immense burden on how to handle and effectively manage, as you already said, the waste that is generated from the preventive measures. And that is something that we are looking to pay a lot more attention, particularly now, not just for people, but also for planet as well, in the context of climate change and environmental health.
So in terms of identifying the break in the chain of managing COVID-19 waste, where would you place it, and essentially how do we get back on track?
So I think there's several things. One, and again here, important to commend Nigeria. As you might be aware, only in June this year, Nigeria passed the Solid Waste Management Law under the Federal Ministry of Environment, and that is a significant step in the right direction, and there's continuous advocacy to ensure that this piece of legislation integrates management of COVID-related waste. So institutionally, policy is important, because in having the right institutional frameworks, then enforcement is critical. But then also just advocacy from a citizen perspective to be aware and behavior change in terms of how we deal, sort, handle, and manage waste becomes extremely important. And we feel that the tipping point for waste management, and particularly health waste, COVID presents that opportunity for us to step back and think about how we manage our health waste. And as you already mentioned at the very beginning, we're not just looking at waste from a perspective of the environment and climate, but also we're talking about a very deadly disease that can be further transferred to citizens if the waste is not properly managed. And so I think from a behavioral perspective, but also from an institutional and enforcement perspective, I think that is where we need to bring back the ethos and the values of sustainable management of waste, and particularly in the context of COVID.
Tell us more about the Hack for COVID Waste, which you're organizing with partners.
Indeed. And so, and if I was to just to step back, and where's the hackathon coming from, and why now? I was just reading a report earlier today that in 2020, globally, over 56 billion masks were manufactured and really procured. And the fear and the concern by environmental activists and experts is that 1.58 billion of those might find themselves under the sea. And that is staggering, that is scary. So while COVID has been hugely devastating, Millicent, truth of the matter is that it has also provided an opportunity for all of us to step back and perhaps start rethinking, reimagining new ways of how to live. And that is really at the heart of this particular hackathon. The hackathon is setting out to do three things, and that's why it's important, not just for us, but for partners and for Nigeria as a whole. It's allowing us an opportunity to first of all, reduce the gap between problems and solutions. And really sitting back and reflecting a little bit on new and innovative ways of addressing what we think is a frontier development challenge of our times, which is waste management. And how do we do this? We do this by providing an opportunity for problem solvers, who are the people with the solutions, and the problem holders to come together. So the hackathon is a call out for solutions. And secondly, it's an opportunity for us to connect the health system, policymakers, with innovators, entrepreneurs, startups, technology enthusiasts, and come together from an ecosystem perspective to surface local solutions to the problem of waste management. We strongly believe, and COVID taught us one thing, that with restrictions in movement, that we need to start looking for solutions within, and we strongly believe that the solutions for addressing COVID-related challenges, including waste management, lie within Nigeria. And so the call that is out in the hackathon is to provide us with an opportunity to surface some of those groundbreaking solutions on how to address the issue of waste management. And this is an opportunity, again, just to emphasize the importance of that in terms of bringing to the table lasting solutions to the COVID-19 waste management issue.
Indeed, and we look forward to the results of the hack for COVID waste. We'd like to thank you. We appreciate your time on the program. William Suma is a crisis prevention and recovery advisor with the United Nations Development Program, UNDP. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you for having me. Good evening.